Yo, what's happening, guys? BJ back with another deck guide for you. And this time I'm actually bringing you the deck that I just hit Grandmaster with. I've not had a ton of time to grind, so I'm a little bit slow to it. But this deck is very, very powerful, and it's a bit of a unique dragon deck. So let's dive in and show you the deck list first, and then we'll get into some gameplay. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what to call it. Dragon, Jerry, Storm, Jerry. This is the deck, guys. Essentially, what this deck is doing is making really good use of the Intimidate keyword and the Storm keyword, right? So we've got Aether Windrider, we've got things like Forte, of course, but in addition to that, we've got a load of Storm threat like Odin and Galmeo as well, obviously, if we play that on turn 7. What I love about this deck is it's not reliant on ramp. We do run the 3 dragon signs, but we don't run the 4-drop ramp. So we've got a nice curve. We can play Fan from early on and to give us some inevitability. But we've also got quite a nice curve with the kind of Phylene and the Megalorcas and Indomitable Fighters into, obviously, the 3-drop Ocean Riders, which I really love. And the Raging Lightning, guys. This card, let's talk about this for a second. A little bit of a dark horse, this card. I didn't think it'd be good at first, but actually dealing 5 damage. So, to be honest, for 3 player points, just dealing 5 damage to the highest follower is pretty good. Not to mention if there are multiple followers, like you think about Abyss at the minute, where they play 2 or 3 bodies down that are 5/5s or the same sort of stats. This can absolutely wreck that. The other thing is, if you're behind as well, that it will do 3 damage to the enemy face if you're in overflow. If you're ahead and it does damage to your own face, it's usually not too big of an issue because we usually get ahead of our opponents with all the Storm that we're running, and we're usually able to close the game out anyway. So this is just like a really cheap removal that also advances our kind of do face damage game plan. So I'm really liking this card. Fantastic. By the way, I should have said, I actually got this deck from the guy who's top of the Dragoncraft class rankings at the minute. He's number 1, and I've literally copied the deck card for card, so we know for a fact that this is a powerful deck right now. In my opinion, it's the best dragon deck in the game right now. So anyway, in the 4 drops, we've got Majabane or Jerry, and you've also got the Indomitable Fighters, which are obviously going to come out as a 5/5 on 4, which are pretty good. So we're able to build this really quite early threatening curve. Obviously, in the 5 drops, we've got things like Seasoned Merman and Galmeo if we want, which again puts a lot of pressure. It helps us clean up the board. And then the late game's just discussed. Not late game, the end of the mid game is really powerful because we've got the Storm from Odin and Forte, and then Gayu is a really great target for a Super Evo. And I have to say, I'm loving this card. It's actually my first ever legendary card, but it's pretty cool because your opponent has to use a lot of resources to get rid of this, and usually that drains them, and we're able to still follow that up with powerful, you know, Storm units that yeah, they benefit from Evo and Super Evo, but they don't need it, right? So we can often just burn our opponent down. Guys, I want to stress that Jerry is often a card you just play on 4, and then you've got a 1-drop, you know, 1 costing removal, which is the Great Testimony, which is fantastic value. And we just use him for tempo. But of course, what Jerry does do is, if we're playing against decks that, for example, can heal again to counter our Storm, things like Abysscraft is a good example, like Mode Abyss, then we lean into the Jerry, the Jerry endgame instead. So particularly the Abyss, I will look for Jerry game, but quite often we'll just play him on tempo, and just play him, you know, as a curve unit. Obviously, if you have exhausted your resources, then Jerry gives you, you go into the Jerry endgame and gives you inevitability. So you just kind of got to make a read really in the match. Do you need that kind of value, or can you kind of finish and win? Like against Rune, for example, you don't want to go in the Jerry game. You really want to just sort of beat them down. I would say most games you'll end up just playing this almost like a Storm deck and beating them down. You'll use Jerry, just stops the deck from just being like one-dimensional, which does increase your win rate. So overall, I think this is quite a powerful deck, guys. I have to say, I was super impressed with it, and yeah, highly recommend if you're a dragon lover. Like, I really like the dragon class. I just think it's felt underpowered, but this deck does not feel underpowered. This is the first. I think this might be the first dragon deck where I think, yeah, this is like a really serious, like solid top tier 2. And it can give the tier 1 decks. I mean, it beats Rune really well. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Give it a shot. So let's dive into some gameplay now. I'm going to show you a mix of games, really, just to try and give you an idea against different, all the different classes. Obviously, just as always, thanks for all your support. Appreciate everybody who likes and comments on the videos and gets involved. And yeah, couldn't do it without you. So thanks very much. And let's jump on into some gameplay. Okay, so we're up against Rune, and we've got quite a nice curve here to try and put some early pressure on the board. I do think against Rune it's really a good idea to keep Forte, sometimes even keep Odin. I like to keep my Storm units, basically. Obviously great if we can get some early curve out and put some chip damage on. Rune are often a little bit weaker, and the thing is, if they do things like this, like, okay, there goes a Stormy Blast, right? And that just basically means that he's not going to have them for Forte, and he's going to struggle to trade with them. So either way, it's kind of like win-win for us. That last turn was hard because I was trying to weigh up whether to ramp or not, but I think in the long term, I think it's a good thing. So we could have gone into a race there with Forte, but kind of no need. I think we can just use the Seasoned Merman here. Take over the board. Right behind you, Anne. Art's failed. Right, so we're going to Ocean Rider here into Ifa, and I think we're going to Evo here. This is almost like a soft check as well. Like Ifa Wind Rider's like, okay, have you got a spell? I think people have definitely forgotten about Intimidate. It's won me so many games. And this is where I really love Gaio. I always think you should be saving your Super Evo for a Gaio, and then potentially either the second one goes on a second Gaio, or it goes on usually like a Forte or one of your Storm units, basically. But it's definitely good to get your first one down on Gaio. Just puts a lot of pressure, and they sort of have to react, right, to the board. And look how many cards they have to play just to deal with it. And resources, Evoing, and it's just a nightmare of a card to deal with. And even then, if this thing had its shield down, it's still standing, we can hit face and finish off with Forte. So able to kind of apply the beat down quite well against Rune. GG.
This brings me back. Power courses through.
Okay. So we've got Dragon. Mirror match, and of course you never quite know what you're going to be getting. Are you going to be playing against Fenny? Are you going to be playing against just a more conventional ramp like a Disdain ramp, or are you going to be playing against, I imagine after this video and after things like the Pro League and people seeing this deck played more, I think this is going to become one of the favoured ways to play Dragon, to be honest. It's so good, so good. So we're definitely going to use the player point here, and we're going to try and take back the board from one Seasoned Merman to another. Something poetic about that trade. Don't see that card played often, but it does tell me it's a Disdain deck, so I'm actually going to save the Evo here. I like to use one Evo to trade the board, and then obviously you've kind of got to see what you've got to respond to, but if you can start to use them on Storm, then that's pretty good. Now he has got heal off with Neptune, so it is saying to me that this could be a bit more difficult to simply beat down with Storm damage. We'll have to see. And he is fully ramped up to 10 player points. So we've got to do something to shift it here. Like, he's way ahead on play points, on ramp and whatnot. And I don't want to just give him like a really soft Fenny. Now, obviously, I'm worried about something like Twilight Dragon here would really, really wreck this board. And down comes the Twilight Dragon. Like, if he doesn't have that, it's difficult, but Twilight is such a good answer to Gaia. And so it kind of forces us to do something here with Phylene. But because we've got enough power points, we can play the White Frost, and then we can just drop a cheeky Wind Rider down. Now, obviously, his little Megalorcus can't trade with it, which is something that I really love about this. And we've just seen a Twilight Dragon. So the question is, have you got anything? Have you got any pings that can deal with these? So we can get the hard removal from Jerry. And we actually do lean into the Jerry Wincon here, because I think we realize that, like, we're running low on cards. And yes, we've got two cards that give us Storm, but he's at 10 player points and 16 health, so it's not going to cut it. So we actually have to lean into the Jerry Wincon here, just because he got that Neptune down early. Like, it's hard to deal with so much heal. But because we've played Jerry late, we can actually play these big cards. It's one of the things about playing Jerry late. You're not always playing Jerry just for the inevitable Wincon. You actually got to think about the deck that he produces. And playing Ryan, now we're getting things 3. All of our followers now cost 3 less for the rest of the game. So he responds with a Forte, and he suddenly shifts gears.
Surrender and accept your end.
I'll remember you.
Sever.
The connection. Love is unneeded. I'll squeeze you dry. I shall return what's yours.
Because everything's costing 3 less, we're just able to play so many cards. If you're able to play Ryo down, I mean, oh my god, it makes such a difference.
The winged musician? Done.
It's what I think it's going to be one of the things now over the next few weeks of people mastering these Jerry tempo decks, is kind of like really learning the Jerry deck and understanding all the different Wincons that are in there. You know, do you go for like the White Palms, for example, to do a kind of gradual chip and damage approach? Do you go for a Ryo if it's a late game, or this guy? Yeah, there's just so many inbuilt Wincons, right? Look at that.
I'd be dead if you hadn't.
Bear in mind as well, we didn't have any Evos or Super Evos left for this deck. For the Jerry deck, we used the last one to play Jerry. One of the other things you can think about is if you know early that you're going to lean into Jerry, to try and save some of your Evo, Super Evos to make use of the deck. Now this is quite a difficult one, obviously, with Gaia coming down with his last Evo point. It's not the easiest board to deal with, so let's see what we get. So we actually have to take 4 damage to be able to kill off 2 of his units. It's a bit of a risky card, that, but then we find the heal and the ward, and he calls it a day. GG. Okay, so now we got Abysscraft.
Can we not? I wasn't built for combat.
Again, ladder is very different to you know, things like Pro League and tournaments play that you watch and stuff. You know, they know the deck list. You don't know what you're playing. My go-to when I'm playing against Abyss is to assume aggro, because I feel like that's the one I'm going to get caught out on. But obviously, you've kind of quickly got to recognize when potentially it's not. So already I'm seeing this card, and I'm guessing it's not an aggro deck. At which point I've now got to think about the fact that he's probably going to have quite a lot of heal as an Abyss player. And so the question is, will I need to lean into a Jerry kind of Wincon, which obviously we didn't mulligan for because we were trying to protect against aggro. We'll have to see how this one pans out.
Start with the basic fish stats. Too slow. Sardine swing.
So this turn we're just really trying to take over the board. Down comes the Supplicant. And an Evo. I guess he's going to attack again, right? Yeah. Okay, misses the one he wanted, but he's still able to clear. So we're going to go with the Ocean Rider. Now, I decide not to play white Phylene here, because Abyss can play some pretty big boards, actually, and Phylene is, at the minute in hand, our only kind of board clear, so if we did need to do that, I didn't want to just throw it away there, just to play out those 2 points. And also, I knew I had Forte less, so by not presenting a threatening board, he did nothing rash, he almost took the turn off, and that allowed us to play like a really aggressive Forte. So now down comes the big board that we talked about, and at this point I feel quite justified in not spending... I know it looked like a weak turn, but obviously you've got to kind of play your hand, and this is exactly why we kept Phylene, for exactly this type of board. We do still attack, importantly, with the Super Evo there, so that we put a point of damage on our enemy face, and then obviously Forte has only got 8 to clear out, and GG. Alright, Swordcraft. I don't think I can keep the Odin, but I do keep the Forte. I pretty much always keep Forte, because the thing with Forte is, like, again, in this matchup, you might have to lean into the Jerry win con, but the thing with Forte is he always begs the question, have you got an answer? And the sword decks, you know, they don't run spells. They do obviously have the 4-drop where they can use loot to, and it does 3 damage to enemy things. That would kill Forte. But other than that, they don't have a ton of ways to deal with the with all the intimidate stuff. So it's always worth like asking the question: can you deal with it? And this sort of cleans up the board quite nicely without really needing to Evo. The opponent actually just buffs up. I mean, the fact that he made that ward, I mean, obviously he's figured, maybe he's banking on the fact that I've got storm units, but it makes me wonder that he hasn't, you know, maybe he hasn't got Sincera or whatever in his hand. So knowing that we can play Gayu next turn, we kind of take that turn to ramp. Oh, what is going on with this? Okay. Okay, so he did have Sincera. Okay.
Fate's head will fall. Too slow. Conquer calamity.
Good little dove should be in bed by now.
Land beyond beckons.
So here we can Rage Lightning to kill this. Now we take the 3 damage, but it does mean we clear the board and we can drop Forte. So another really nice use for Rage Lightning. It can deal with those ambush boards. And all of a sudden it's like, have you got an answer? He has, but what we've done here is deliberately put the Forte out first, because if it pulls out Sincera as the answer, which is obviously got to do, then we've got Gayu to answer it. Whereas if we Gayu before we've seen Sincera, then Sincera is a really great answer to a Gayu board, right? Whereas this way around, okay, our life is incredibly low, but we'd have like Vanguards, we'd have an opportunity. But it didn't matter anyway, because we were proactive with the previous Forte, we were able to just end the game there with the second one. GG.
This brings me back. Power courses through me.
Okay, so a Dragon Mirror.
Only frost wounds in my dominion.
So as I say, guys, I know it's been a while, but if you are a Dragon lover, I do definitely recommend this deck. Like I say, it got me Grandmaster and the #1 Dragon player right now, top of the rankings, is also running this exact deck card for card. So clearly it's powerful, clearly it works, and yeah, it feels really great to pilot.
Okay, next checkpoint.
Could have Rage Lightning there. It was a bit of an awkward turn actually, but we decided that, you know what, we can afford to take the 3 damage. in favor of ramping. So that's what we did.
Okay, next.
And there we go. The Rage Lightning clears the board and does the damage to face. So it's like playing a Storm unit in that instance. And then we can get Wind Rider down. We can play the Evo point on it and kind of beg the question, have you got the answer? Well, in this instance, yes, he does. So it's a Disdain Dragon, right? Really important that they keep hold of those one-drop spells, Disdain players. But down comes Gayu. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to Super Evo first so that we get the barrier on the Silver Dragon. That means we can clear for 3 there. And then Gayu Super Evo takes that out. Really important that you get the ordering right with Gayu. I certainly made a few errors when I first started playing with him. So any new players, just make sure like you either... You know, you often leave the barrier up with this, so you attack with it and then you Super Evo so that you get the barrier left on him. But in that instance, it was better to get the barrier first, right, so that we could trade. Okay, so Neptune comes down. So now we're into healing territory. Okay, now the good news is obviously we have still got Odin, and I would have Odin there, I think, and pushed, but I actually looked at it and I was like, do you know what? He's just used quite a bigger answer to a difficult board. Let's see if he can answer 2 Super Evo'd Gaius, and this time this one has got the shield on. So I feel like that presents a better, a more resilient challenge for him than just an Odin, right? And we can always use Odin like without the Super Evo, so I feel like we get better bang for our buck from Gaiu using it essentially. But he is healing every time he plays an Orca now. And we've got Fortes queuing up. So what we decide to do here is trade, make use of the fan and Forte go face and try and set this up for lethal. Now he's going to heal again. He's up to 8. But remember, we know that with Forte and with fan and with Evo, we've got 9 damage reach from hand. So there it is. Actually, we found Wind Rider, so we don't even need to use the fan. Wind Rider comes down. GG.
A journey of 1,000 miles.
So there you go, guys. There's the deck. I've got the QR code up if you want to copy it. Obviously, I'm fully expecting Jerry decks to start to become more popular. There's this Jerry deck. There's a Forest Jerry deck. And I think as that starts to happen, then playing the Jerry Wincon might become, it's interesting because you want to get your Jerry off before their Jerry. And so then playing that earlier might become more important. But right now, I think particularly in this version, in the Dragon version, honest to God, I think you just want to be trying to win most of your games with the use of Intimidate and Storm, which is in a pretty good spot right now. So again, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more, and check out this video if you enjoyed that one.